Welcome back. Joe Posnanski's new book, Why We Love Baseball, A History in 50 Moments, officially is out today. It's a love letter to baseball told in the format of 50 stories from the game. Joe, tell us about the book. I mean, I'm fascinated by it, and going through it, there's so many amazing stories. What made you write it?
You know, this is the only book that I've ever written where I had the title first. I knew I was going to write a book called Why We Love Baseball, and then the book sort of followed suit. And, you know, as you say, I figured out, I talked to people, why do you love the game? And it's so different with baseball than it is with any other sport. And what people always talk about are moments they were there to see, moments in their own lives. And so I wanted to count down some moments, and it says 50 moments. There are actually a lot more than that in the book. And I mean, what a blast.
Yeah, under with different topics, some subheadings with more stories than just the 50. All right, so I'm interested in some of the lesser known stories of the famous moments in the game. Do you have one that sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, we'll start with the Pine Tar home run. I mean, everybody has seen the Pine Tar home run. Everybody's seen, the way that the way that he loses his mind after they call him out because they say there's too much Pine Tar on the bat. I love the whole imagery of them stretching the bat across the plate. George said that if one of these SOBs calls me out, I'm going to go out there and kill somebody. I mean, that was the way it was. And not many people realize that, of course, it was overturned. They called him out. It was overturned. They actually finished that game. That game was played in New York. A month later, it was only the ninth inning that they had to play. There's so many funny things about that final game. I mean, my favorite part is Billy Martin, because he was Billy Martin, had them challenge every base to say that George missed the base. And then he came out screaming, how in the world can you guys know if he missed the base? Because it was a different umpiring crew. And they had a sheet of paper that they showed him notarized from the old umpire saying, oh, yeah, he touched every base.
That is amazing.
They outsmarted Billy Martin.
That is amazing.
So
they
fun.
anticipated he was going to do that. I love it. I love it. I didn't know that at all. It's funny, George Brett, I remember seeing an interview with him. He said, I was always known as the guy that had hemorrhoids in the playoffs. Now I was known as the Pine Tar guy moving forward. And so, yep, they set it up with Billy Martin. All right, so one of my favorite chapters is the Reggie Jackson chapter, Mr. October. How did he get the nickname?
I love this so much. So everything I wanted to do, so I wrote about Reggie's 3 home runs, and I wanted to do something different. You know, everybody knows about the 3 home runs. And I started looking up the name Mr. October. Now, it won't surprise people to know that he named himself Mr. October.
Right,
that was Reggie, right? But here's the hilarious part. Reggie got off to a terrible start in that playoffs and in the World Series. Just absolutely terrible. He was 3 for 22, as you can see. That was in the playoffs against Kansas City and in the first couple games of the World Series. And after Game 2, he was complaining about Catfish Hunter making the start. And people were going to Billy Martin going, what the heck is going on here? And Thurman Munson lost his mind. And Thurman Munson just goes, listen, if I was hitting 111 or whatever, I wouldn't be second guessing the damn manager. Reggie hasn't been doing all that well. Still, he keeps talking. I guess Billy doesn't realize that he's Mr. October. That's how the name started. Reggie was calling himself Mr. October. Nobody even knew that. And so he's making fun of him by calling him Mr. October. And then, of course, a couple days later, Reggie Jackson hits 3 home runs in a game, and he is Mr. October.
And then Derek Jeter became Mr. November. There you see it right there, Reggie getting it done. And, those moments, right? You have those big moments, and all of a sudden, nicknames stick.
Yeah.
And titles stick, and Reggie waving to the crowd, and he's saying, you know what, I know I was 3 for 22, but look at me now.
Oh, I love this third one. The third one is he hit 3 swings, the third one, he saw the knuckleball coming, and he just was like, oh, man, here we go. He loved hitting the knuckleball.
Yeah, now one of the other interesting stories that caught my attention is the story about Al Gianfrido and the play he made on Joe DiMaggio in 1947 of the World Series. Tell us why that catch is so unique.
Well, here's the thing. So I wanted to put nothing but fun, cool moments in here, and I was actually going to leave that moment out, even though it's very famous because Joe DiMaggio famously kicked the dirt after he made the catch.
He never showed emotion.
Never showed emotion, so it was such a big deal. But if you watch the video, which we're seeing here, it's not that good a catch. Look at him, he's kind of stumbling around. It wasn't going to be a home run. It just wasn't that good a catch. So I was going to leave it out. Here's why it's in. that is not the actual catch. That is a reproduction of the catch that he did the next day. They did not get it on camera, so the newsreels came out the next day, brought the crowd, and the crowd was there before Game 7. They brought everybody out. They told everybody cheer and scream and go crazy, and they had him, like, reproduce the catch like several times, and you can see like some fans are cheering, some fans are like, I don't even know what this is. It was just this crazy thing. So now it's one of the greatest moments in baseball history.
That is amazing. All right, what's the story that didn't make the book? The 51st moment.
Well, the 51st moment is very personal to me because I grew up in Cleveland. I was a big Cleveland fan. My number 50 moment, I will tell you, is Dwayne Kuiper's home run because of that. Dwayne knocked out my other great Cleveland moment, which is Len Barker throwing a perfect game in 1981. It's so amazing and forgotten. It was just this chilly, rainy day in Cleveland. He had his curveball going. It was incredible. And it was the first perfect game in like a long time. The first perfect game in the American League since Don Larson had thrown his in the World Series. So it was a huge deal. And as a kid growing up in Cleveland, that was like the one moment that we made the front page because like nothing good had ever happened for Cleveland baseball while I was growing up. So I love that moment.
Were you there for it?
I wish. No, nobody was there. It was like 1,200.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. There wasn't anybody there. All right, the book again is Why We Love Baseball, History in 50 Moments, and it's out today. Everyone should go pick up a copy.